to the director's report.
Well, I just want to make note of the beautiful new chairs that the citizens
Yeah.
could come and
Yeah.
sit in if they wanted to comment.
Nice
So
to
take a look.
Come on down. So the director's report, I apologize, I wrote this 3 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago when we were supposed to meet, but
How much has happened?
yeah, we had to reschedule a few times. I apologize for that. I don't know if I need to read this word for word, but basically what I went through the budget, and all of our budgeted items are listed here with status next to them. So water wagon, that's something that we're going to use to help with areas that don't have irrigation, new palm trees that we've planted, and the flower bed at Roberts Point Park, helping to get plants established. I'm not in the business of, regularly watering all the time. I'm trying to plant native plants and help them thrive, but for the first 3 years, the plants need some help along the way. So that's what that's for. We have a new fleet management process with our vehicles. We used to just buy them, and then when they rusted out, we'd auction them off. Well, we partnered with, or we're using Enterprise now, and so they will select vehicles for us that meet the specs that we require. We'll use them for a few years, and then they'll sell them, and the price that they're purchased at will contribute towards the next lease. So it'll be the kind of rolling fleets where the vehicles never get in too bad of condition. And so that's exciting. We've got a grounds crew truck coming. We're planning on a second van for youth programs. Surf Rescue is getting new vehicles through this program, so it's going to help us a lot. It's slow getting started because there's so much to do this first round, but once it becomes a rolling process, I think it'll be pretty smooth. Darla is handling it for us right now.
Likely.
Recreation center planning has begun. If you were not following city council or the budget process, they approved a tax anticipation note of $15 million for a facility that will be at our community park. And so, sorry, I'm distracted. We have gone under contract with the architects and engineers. Rick, the Janak Architects, they subcontracted with Brinkley Sargent Wingington, BSW. They are rec center specialists. So they did DOS Rec in New Braunfels. They did the North Richland Hills Rec Center. It's this beautiful 84,000 square foot indoor aquatic, beautiful complex. So they really know rec centers, that's their specialty. And then they also subcontracted Pros Consulting, who helps with programming and all the scheduling and all the staffing and the operations costs and things like that. So we have this dream team that's been put together. We had a kickoff meeting, and we had a digital tour of rec centers. So David and I have been working with them just to kind of get the bare bones of a rec center laid out. And then that's when we'll start to have conversations with the board and with community members on fine tuning it to make sure it really is what we're looking for. But this is for our community, paid for with property tax. So we're not pressured to, bring in tourists with it or anything like that. It's for our community, and I'm so excited. So more to come with that. There is some golf carts, some mowers, kind of just regular Parks and Rec stuff. The Roberts Point Playground is another huge project that's in the works. So half is the design and engineering firm. There, Lane Olivio is the landscape architect. You might recognize his name. He worked on the park at the community center. So he's helping to do the landscape and architecture and civil work for the playground. The surveying has already been done. Now it's the design phase. Once the design is at 30%, the playground company comes in with their layout of all the playground equipment. We're gonna work with them through the purchasing co-op, the Texas Buy Board. And so they need some design plans in place before they can give us the price that, because the Buy Board purchasing co-op, their estimate basically is a contract. And so, we are signing the, scope of work for that engineering and designing, next. That's the next step to do. So,
Are they just gonna come up with some crazy ideas, or are you gonna give them some suggestions? on
so they
theme?
came in, they did a site visit already when we were working on the,
It's the same guys we toured with, right?
yes,
Okay.
yeah. So they came in as part of a different process. So I guess we kicked it off early at the end of the master planning process. And so we're looking at the components that have kind of been solidified right now are that it's all inclusive. So we want it to be ADA accessible. We want anyone with any ability level to be able to use it, you know, grandma coming out or a person with a disability, or if they have hearing impairment or vision impairment, there's something for them there. There's gonna be some topography changes in the playscape so that you don't have to have stairs to a slide. And it will visually be interesting out there. The surfacing will be the rubberized safety surfacing. And then the idea is that things will kind of build an elevation to the center object, and the lighthouse is the most common idea right now. I did ask for an alternative in case we take it to council and they say, we don't need another lighthouse or whatever. It could be transformed into a sand castle, or it could be transformed into a surf rescue tower, or there's gonna be a big structure in the middle that slides come off of and is the big play structure. What the aesthetics of it look like is a little bit malleable at this point, but I think lighthouse or sandcastle is probably the top of the list.
I think those are both good. And if they're looking for other stuff, you know, and since their proximity to the boat basin and all the boat activity, you know, having a nautical theme, you know, would work too. You know,
Yeah, I
I'm not
think-
sure if it would work for the center structure, but it could.
Well, so the main thing with the slides coming off of it will look like a lighthouse or a sandcastle, but then there's gonna be other components. There's gonna be climbing features and spinny features and swing features, and it could be a sea turtle, or it could be a boat, or
Yeah.
the main frame of it might look like docks with pilings and things like that, but I haven't seen the drawings yet. It's all just been discussion at this point. I wanted it to go a little faster than it's going.
Just want to say real quick.
So the main company that we're looking at being the manufacturer of the playground had some corrosion issues at a most recent project they did in the Houston area, and Craftsman wanted to make sure all of those potential issues for us were remedied before they agreed to move forward. And so that just happened last Friday. The remedies were submitted for approval, and so we're still rolling, but it was a long pause to wait for them to come up with the right solutions to make sure we don't put up something that is gonna have corrosion issues
We
or
need all
not
the,
last.
we need all the bolts to be stainless. Yeah,
Not only that, but it all has to be
Right.
treated before it's on site. Like typically an installer might drill holes while it's here, and they're not gonna do that. There were some areas where screws were pulling out, and so screws will now all be bolts. They will all be stainless, lots of galvanized, treated. Off-site before it comes here, pre-drilled. They're really going through plans with fine tooth comb to make sure they
That's
prevent
important.
any issues that they can possibly prevent.
since corrosion took our last, you know,
Yes,
couple of.
we learned
roads.
things from that experience. Yeah, definitely.
It'll take everything.
It
Eventually.
will.
Well, and this playground, it's not gonna be a 30-year playground, even though, you know, right? So we're gonna do the best we can, and we're gonna think about the maintenance of it and budgeting for when things do need to replace. Can we replace a component at a time so that we're not totaling it and starting from scratch?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so Safety netting at the ball fields is still under the works. We have a place to buy the netting from, but the installation, they require a local contractor to do, so we're waiting on estimates for those. There's new palm trees at McDonald Field already. All the ball fields are in shape. They're ready for Little League and high school to be playing out there. The shade we're holding off on because I don't want to put brand new shade at the pool and then build a rec center next to it that doesn't match or could provide like a cantilever off the rec center to shade the pool or whatever. So we're just pressing pause on that for the time being. Holidays came and went. They were fun. Surf rescue station is still on pause because of the engineering of that area with fire and EMS and public works all going in. They kind of have to wait their turn. And so it's just a holding pattern. I don't know if I introduced, if we've met since did we have a new surf rescue manager the last time we met? In September. I think we did. He was
Yeah.
probably just started, but Matt, he's forming a new team. We've had some turnover in the head guard positions, so they're all kind of revising the surf rescue manual. They're looking at their rookie school and how they ran that last year for the first time, improving that. They're in a really good place where now they're kind of finding their groove and refining the processes that they have and making it their own. So I think that we're going to see a lot of good stuff coming from that department. Nature Preserve is always going with different grants and invasive species removal. They've got utilities and a gate working at the southern entrance. The design is still in process at the 33-acre preserve. I don't think there's anything new to update you on there, other than Ray's going to be applying for that TPWD boating access grant. So we budgeted for some match for her to apply for that grant to help with the park construction or
So I know we talked,
design and engineering plans. So she's working, the first step is like construction plans.
so I know we talked about having water access kayaks, but are we talking about a boat ramp?
No, just
So
kayak paddling.
so Texas Parks
So
Wildlife
that's
will give
just
you,
the name of the grant, but
okay,
we qualify for that, but yeah, not a boat ramp.
okay.
That's,
That's
Too
what I
much.
just want to clarify.
I'll just pass out. Can't do it.
That's what I wanted to make sure.
All right, everything here, I think I already went over. The pool has had lots of improvements. They have their robot vacuum keeping the pool clean at night and good new staff over there. They have 2 head guards, assistant manager and a manager, kind of keeping everything running over there. The assistant manager loves decorating for holidays and things, so it's always cheerful when you walk in. It's decorated for the next holiday and cute vibe and feeling over there. I think it's all good. Fishing piers. I keep hearing, well, I haven't heard anything lately, but trash on the piers was a big ordeal. Folks were used to having trash cans on the pier, and so when there wasn't, and they were asked to take trash to the nearest large toter, it really ruffled feathers and folks didn't understand the behavior change I was trying to go for. So I am waiting on the restore grant for some benches and trash cans, recycling cans, and landscaping and signage. And that grant is just taking forever. I don't know how else to say it. They're working
Who's
from
the
there.
sponsors in that group?
It's TCEQ and maybe NERDA. And so I think it's the first time they're creating their process, and it's just, I mean, it's been like 3 years that they're like working out
That's a
how to
lot.
make this happen. So yeah, and then I heard that they just had 2 of their lead people turn over, and so it slowed things down again. So Ray is also working with the same grant funders on birding center and nature preserve project, and hers is a little bit ahead of the fishing piers and still taking a long time, but her stuff, she's thinking it will get done this year, so. Sometime we'll get ours too, but
Uh,
Paradise Pond, if you haven't been out there, please go check out the boardwalk goes all the way across and you can walk to the community park there now. Or if you live in Channel Vista or the community park, you can go the other way and go to Paradise Pond now. But there should be a ribbon cutting for that coming up soon. Ray and I were talking about, Ray had talked with Joan Holt about how that site really was the, what started ecotourism and tourism for birding in our area. And so I hope to hear like a little bit of a special presentation at that ribbon cutting about how that really was the site that kicked it all off.
Will Joe do it?
I'm hoping. That's what I requested anyways. But just, it's a project that was near and dear to my heart, so to have it done, I'm just thrilled about. I think it's something that is really great for our community, and I'm glad to see it's complete. Something kind of new that we tried, not kind of new, it was new that we tried, was this Preserve Host program. This is Tony and Kathy, and they are spending the winter with us. We pay for a RV spot, they come and stay in it, and then they have a required amount of time that they spend on our trails, educating visitors and being observant if there's any, you know, inappropriate action or any rule
There are
violations going
A
on.
lot of e-bikes on there, on the, in nature preserve,
Really?
yeah, lots of.
E-bikes are all over the place. You know,
Yeah.
They're gonna have to think about regulations.
I know the signs say no e-bikes, but no, they're not. reading the sign.
And they're not pedaling, they're using the
They're
motor.
using their motors.
Well, these
a
folks
lot
are
of
supposed to be
dogs.
out there to, they're supposed to be out there to help educate people about the dogs and the, all the other rules like that. So, it provides the more staff presence, for lack of a better, like, there's no way that we could be out there all the
Yeah,
time, but
no.
these two being out there definitely helps. And I've heard that they're loving it, and I think they have the right
Do they walk
demeanor.
the paths, or do they use the car?
They walk the path and they have a cart. They have a
Right.
golf cart
I
out
saw
there.
the cart at their site, but I haven't seen it on the trails, but.
Well, they try not to use it when people are on the trails because it's very hard to pass folks. You have to stop. Like if you encounter the cart on a boardwalk, only one of
Yeah.
you is getting to go and the cart wins.
Yeah.
So they try not to use the cart
Right.
unless they have to.
We walked that a lot, both. All the paths in there, my wife.
And you haven't seen them on the trails?
I haven't seen, them,
Huh.
but
When do you
Yeah.
walk?
we walk in the mornings.
Okay.
We usually walk to the pavilion and.
I
then
don't know
walk
what
to-
their specific hours are. I know we wanted them to do weekends. But I don't know what time of day they're working.
I wouldn't be, I'm not surprised we don't see them, you know. There's a lot of area. but-
Yeah,
It is a lot of area.
But there are more and more e-bikes all the time. And where it says no pets. You know, I don't know what people consider four-legged things. But they sure do a lot of walking on those paths.
well, we just had to deal with someone intentionally feeding wildlife out there too. They were dumping food, thinking that it would keep the wildlife. Like if they kept them fed enough, they wouldn't attack pets, and
Oh.
really it just attracts more, so
But you just get.
we're
they
working
just
on
blow around.
educating folks.
That makes them more used to being around humans.
Yeah. So
I don't know. People-
it is
I
very
think-
frustrating. Ray and I beat our heads against the wall a lot about it.
I think a lot of the dogs are coming from like the same thing as they're like in the restaurants. It's like their support dogs or whatever, and they have right to be with them.
But they have to have a red vest on.
So, well,
No.
technically,
Technically, no.
I've gotten into heated conversations with people about this. We allow service animals.
Seriously.
So if they are ADA trained, they're providing a service. They're detecting seizures, they're seeing eye dog, they're actually providing a service. That's one thing. An emotional support animal is different, and so we don't allow emotional support
I think
animals.
it's the mentality of some pet owners or.
That it's one and the same, but
Yes.
legally, you can't sue me if I tell
Yeah.
you you can't have your fluffy little dog under your
Mhm.
arm. I hope that doesn't get me in trouble for saying that. That's my understanding.
Real quick, back to the bikes issue on the trail.
Yeah,
I'm embarrassingly violated a rule, because when I've come up on my bike and I'll enter Charlie's pasture from 361
okay,
and go up to the burning center and then back home, right? So the sign says, initially just said that cyclists are supposed, I can't remember the wording.
so there's a sign that's a good point.
Yes.
There's a sign at the birding center that says dismount and walk your bike on the birding center, because those railings are so high that if you were riding your bike and someone
Be
was trying to
awkward.
walk by, it would really be awkward. But the whole nature preserve system, no motorized vehicles are supposed to be on
No
those trails at
motorized.
all.
Right,
So you can
Yeah.
pedal.
but you can
Yeah.
pedal.
Yeah,
And it specifically says that about e-bikes and e-scooters. They have to be,
Yeah.
not permitted,
yeah.
Okay,
but it's just that they don't get off, they don't
Pedal.
pedal and they don't get off, out of your way. I mean, you
They're-
have
and they're
to get
pretty-
off.
Yeah, what I would
Heard
really like to
Some of them seem
do,
like they go 30.
yeah, they go fast. What I
I'd
would
like
really
to
like
carry
to
a
do,
stick and stick it in their spokes and they go by.
I'm not gonna turn you in. I would like to make some bump outs on the boardwalks on 361 because they go for very long stretches without a wider section. And so I think if there were some wider sections, it would be a good place for a birder to set up a tripod. Or it would be a passing area, or if you were in a wheelchair, it would be a turnaround area. And so we need to look at the engineering of what would be allowed. I think if you had, let's say you have your boardwalk and you built something that came off of the pilings that are on the boardwalk and hovered over like a cantilever.
Mhm.
I don't know that we would have to go back for permitting purposes because it's in a wetland, and so it can be a very lengthy, painful process, but I need to look into if we kind of expanded the boardwalk, didn't actually touch the marsh, if that would be something that is permissible with that through flow decking that allows light through. It might be something that we don't have to dive into the permitting process for, but I would like to see some wider sections because the birders don't like the bikes and the bikes, want to get through there. And I really believe in shared use. I really don't want to say no bicycles at all because
Right.
there's folks that enjoy getting from point A to point B through there, and it's meaningful for those people to have experiences out there. It helps ensure that it will be protected for future generations. And if I just exclude everybody but the birders, I'm not doing any
No, I don't-
services for
I
the
don't think that.
preserve.
So, and maybe just if we know about when all these e-bikes show up, maybe we can talk to the police force into just sitting out there for an hour. I know they don't like to patrol, but maybe they just could stake out like they do, on the weekdays when the school lets out. They just park somewhere. We have to
Yeah.
know where the biggest flow is. Is it just happening on weekends?
Well, that's one thing I thought about these park hosts is I could give them some kind of data sheet that they fill out and they tell me how many dogs they see and how many e-bikes they see. They could be the data collection, and then once we know, okay, 5 o'clock on Wednesday, that's the hot time, like, and then maybe the police could go then.
Mhm.
and is there any plan to connect that short, distance that is between where the the new sidewalk stops and where the other Charlie's pasture begins?
Yes, yeah. It's the missing link,
Yeah,
but yeah.
okay,
I can't remember if it's in the restore grant. I want to say that it is, but in the next year or two, it should have connectivity.
Mhm.
Yeah, that part's interesting because it was landfill at some point, so no matter how much trash you pick up there, more just comes
Bubbles
out
up.
of the ground. Treasures to be found. All right, I kind of got into surf rescue. I think I covered all that stuff already. Youth programs are going strong. The ACE program at the school ended, and so we're back to it just being city programming, and so that simplifies things a lot. And I have heard nothing but good stuff. They did a fishing club for the first time, so that's what that little photo from the pier is, the fishing club. I love seeing stuff like that. I want kids outdoors being active, and so that kind of stuff makes me happy. Community programming. Christy is a workhorse. She has so much going on all the time. I cannot keep up with it. I just see her and wave and say, keep up the good work.
It's great to see one program after another, day after day going on at the community center. I really feel like
Oh, good.
it's the community center.
Good.
you know, With the way it should be. So yeah, that starts, pretty early in the morning, line dancing, then. Cards or Mahjong or whatever that game is they play, and then they have crafts, they're doing that right now. They get to the 3,
I just dropped my mom off there.
yeah, they're doing fish bowls, cause I was setting up for the
Okay.
lecture. But yeah, I think it's great. She's doing a great job. And we've been able to, they're very helpful, transitioning to our setup, so helping out.
I'm looking at trunk or treat 1,500.
Those big park community
Yeah.
programs are crazy. I'm sorry, I was supposed to unlock my car and another parenting snafu. Sorry, I
was
just need one
Saturday.
second.
Guess we're never gonna bring back the old parade. Thanks, the Halloween parade that the kids used to always do every year.
I don't think we did that since I've been here. What was the details?
I'm not sure. I think it always finished with like a bazaar at the school, so maybe it started at school, went around, came back to the school. So maybe the school sponsored it, but it was always fun because everybody that had a family participated in that, the whole families would get dressed up and
Aw,
you usually just, I think just went down C Street to, it was pretty short, I think it started maybe kind of like around the art center, it came down Alistair to C, and then up, the station just as far as the elementary gym, and then they would go in there, but it was pretty well attended every year too. But I think the trunk or treat's a great activity.
sounds like something the school did, but I'm not positive.
It may have been the school, maybe, I don't know.
I don't know.
I could ask a couple of people that I know that I've seen it.
I'm sorry, I just need 1 second. Okay. So a lot of this stuff will migrate over to the rec center once that's in place. That's gonna be a couple years realistically. So we had talked about from the kickoff meeting, maybe the whole thing, if it was right on target and super fast, could take 18 months for the rec center process, so. Construction talk, 2 years probably.
Yeah.
After school care, summer camp, and a lot of the programming, like exercise classes and things like that for the Winter Texans would be hosted out of the rec center.
Did you have a lot attend the welcome back picnic? 'Cause
The picnic had a really good turnout and the hoedown had a really good turnout just this past weekend. All of our programming overall is totally booked. Like if it requires pre-registration, it is booked. there was a few things that were early in the season, like before the holidays, that got canceled because of low turnout. But that's what's cool about having that registration software is you know ahead of time if no one's gonna show and you can just cancel it instead of wasting, you know, supplies and staff time and things like that. So, I've talked to more people that have come in and said, we're in town, we're looking for something to do, and I feel bad, because I'm like, you had to get online and register, everything's, but there's still, you know, general public programs that they can come to, but all the classes and things that require pre-registration, you gotta get it when it first opens up.
I will say I miss some of the community activities that we used to have at the community center at Christmas. You have it at Roberts Point, you know, it's so far on the edge of town, it's like nobody's, well, some people do walk that area, but nobody's walking through that area.
I think when the neighborhood park is done, it'll move back there. I think having it in like a center of town green is appealing. I also think there's kind of two separate audiences. There's a audience that wants to see Santa and see a big light display and have more of an event. And then there's also like the community tree lighting type vibe. And so
Yeah,
I
that's the
can-
part that I missed.
we kind of tried to combine efforts this year and have both of them at the same thing, and I don't know if it's a lot easier on our staff, and that was the motivation behind it, because we have such a small staff, like, let's try and be as efficient as we can, but it does lose a little bit of the charm when everything is all in one thing.
And I totally understand that. Well, at the Wind Boat Festival, we used to do stuff at Friday Boat Works. We would go back and forth, you know, we have a small staff too, as far as people actually doing the work. You know, so we'd be running back and forth, racing, trying to get all that done, so I understand that. But maybe we can do something, maybe, you know, something that we can help you with, as far as tree lighting and stuff goes.
That would be nice, yeah, that would be very nice. I didn't get rid of the tree over there. I knew that would be really sad not to have a tree there, so we at least still had the tree, we
And
just
I
didn't
did-
have the festivities lighted.
And I thought that the light show, you know, with the Christmas trees, the light, I thought that looked really cool for the water driving by in a boat.
Oh,
So, you know, somebody coming in on a boat, it was really kind of neat presentation to incoming, you know, visitors that are coming by water.
cool. Well, I know Ken has a vision to expand it. I think that was the first iteration of it, and it was kind of like, okay, we have the software, we've got the infrastructure to start, and then my vision was it taking up the whole Chili Field at some point, being this like fun music and light show. And I really viewed it as a spectator this year because I was out on maternity leave, so I didn't know what I was gonna see when I walked out there. And so I kind of can see how it would build and get bigger out there. So we need to think about the attraction side of the holidays and the community side of the holidays, and maybe getting help from the chamber with the attraction side and the museum from the community side, or other partners.
Sure.
Could be a nice way to do that, so it's not taxing our staff so much.
Yep. Definitely be willing to engage a conversation about that.
All right. So I think that's my report. Does anyone have any questions about that?
With the slight pause with it. I guess the big question for a lot of community members are like, are we gonna have a park by summer at Roberts Point?
I think it's gonna be underway. I
Okay.
think, realistically, there was a chance that, you know, stuff would be starting to roll around spring break, and it's not there.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping 4th of July would be a nice, you know, next goal.
Nothing ever happens.
Mm-mm. But
And what about
to kind
the-
of soften the blow, I guess we are still doing those pop-up park activities. So on Saturdays, there's all different types of events. I think the last one was a crane activity. there's gonna be one where the catch program partnered with us and we're doing bounce houses and things out there. So we're trying to keep folks entertained and provide opportunities for play in the park, just in a different way.
And then with the big pavilion, when will that be? Right now, you know.
Not my department.
That's not your, the pavilion isn't, it's just part of Roberts. It's
I
just
think
not-
really soon. I think they're
Yeah.
really close,
Okay.
but I don't know the exact timeline. I'm sorry.
Hopefully before Deep Sea Road.
Yeah, deep sea, yeah. When is the ribbon cutting? Is ribbon-
Hasn't
Is it-
been scheduled yet.
Okay,
I think they're gonna do a tree planting during the Whooping Crane Festival, so probably March, because I think they wanna cut the ribbons after some trees are added out there.
when does, and so, someone else, when does information on the summer? Kids for, is it Marlin? I don't know what you call it. in the summer. Marlin.
Camp Marlin,
When does that come out?
I think
Or like available for
I think April.
April? Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
We go by the South Jetty deadlines, so whenever the visitor, seriously, whenever the visitor guide deadline is done, that's when our programming is finalized.
Are they gonna make use of the sailboats this year?
I sure hope so.
Did you get the sails out? You had somebody, last time we.
He was working on it. I don't know. We're still storing them over
Where
at the
do the
community
summer
park.
programs? They just go to all different places,
Yeah, so they're
Yes.
based out of the schools,
school.
and
but-
then every Thursday they do a field
But-
trip,
Okay, but so they're, yeah, but. They do-
and then they spend time at the pool a lot too.
But they're based out of the school, not. Oh, that's not me.
My work phone.
Okay, so I'll tell
Yeah,
them.
home base is the
look for
school
sometime
until we have a
April.
rec center, and then it will be at the rec center.
All right,
What's next on the
very
list?
good. Thank you, Colleen.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is to address the minutes from the meeting on Monday, August the 7th. Unless someone has some corrections or issues, I'd entertain a motion to accept the minutes.
I'll make the motion.
I'll make a motion in second.
Second.
Cliff, thanks. So general discussion of community park expansion project. General
Community
discussion,
center.
possible action on amending the city, is that a part of C or C separate?
C is separate from
Yeah.
D,
Yeah.
and I kind of got into it in my director's report, but the status on the community center park expansion project is we are nearing completion of the design. I'm hoping to get the 100% plans today, so they go to council this week. I have a placeholder on the agenda right now and I'm waiting for the documents. If not, they'll go next month. But we have the design of the pavilion and bandstand revised from what we saw. It went from kind of a bus stop looking feature to more of a A-frame roof, kind of with some Matthews House
Yeah, Matthews Place.
design inspiration, so a little bit more traditional look out there. I think that hopefully the museum is happy to see.
Will we see the final 100%?
I don't
we
think
see it
it's
at the
changed from
meeting?
90% to 100%. I don't
Okay.
think it's changed.
So,
That we didn't have any feedback for them on that. We gave them feedback on the plant species that had been selected in the landscaping plan. There were some non-natives there that I asked to switch out, and they did confirm that they're doing that. But other than that, there's not really anything changing from the 90 to 100%.
or any of them live oak?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it was like Schumart oak or something that was in the plans, and we switched it.
Yeah, cause once they get going, I mean, I planted a seedling, a little sapling. About 25 years ago, that's, this big around, if they get the right,
Well, and I'm hoping to get some big ones. I love, you get more for your money if you buy them small, but it'd be nice to just make it feel like a park right
It
away
would be great.
and get some big stuff out
And I
of there.
bet you could get some.
Live oaks you can buy pretty big.
Yeah. That'd be great. And then you don't have to baby them through that fragile phase too.
Yeah. There's pros and cons, but yeah. So anything else you want to know about the community center park? It needs a name. Council gets to decide that, I believe, but if you guys wanted to suggest a name or something like that, we could probably get the ball rolling on it. I don't know if they're gonna discuss it when the 100% plans come through, but I'm tired of it being a nebulous
Yeah,
neighborhood park, community center park, park at Allister, all the different things we call it. Needs a name.
Well, it gets confused because we do have a community park.
Right. And the community center is already confused with the civic center all the time, so it just like adds to the,
yeah. Yeah, I like Old Town Park, but I'm gonna tell Mackie that if he wants to talk, talk about calling it Matthews Place Park or something, or Matthews
instead of
Park. That he should present for the next city
council.
council.
Well, even just the town center or the town green or something, I don't, it could be anything, just pick something. I'll be happy with one name.
All right. Item D is general discussion and possible action on amending the City of Port Aransas Parks Code of Ordinance, Chapter 18, 8 through from 241 to 244, and that's what I handed each of you. That's what the code. It's pretty simple. I mean, unless are you recommending, or do you know some things, Colleen, that need to be changed?
Well, the big thing, the nature preserve is revising the parts of this that affect them, and so I wanted to give it to you to change anything that you saw that needed to be updated or addressed. I haven't looked at this in a few months, to be honest, so nothing's right on the top of my head, but there was a lot of wordsmithing that the nature preserve wanted to do, and also some clarification on things for the police department to be able to enforce certain rules. So they're really diving into it heavy. I just wanted you guys to have the opportunity to discuss or add if needed.
Okay,
Can we talk about speed bumps when you guys do all the
I-
reconstruction?
I had a note from the last meeting that you requested speed bumps at Community Park. So the parking will be rearranged out there. It's gonna,
It won't go all the way around, right? They'll have to come in one side or the other.
that's how the open space master plan is suggesting it. I don't know for sure if that's the final location of the building and how the traffic flow will go, but it would definitely be something I can request in when parking gets designed.
It seems pretty crazy driving in there, so I think a couple speed bumps. They come blasting out of that skate park sometimes, 80 miles an hour, just
Yeah.
amazing, they make the turn.
There's a lot of young drivers in there. They're just going to the pool, skate park. I mean,
Yeah, I've seen some parents, that were
oh
coming for
yeah,
a ball
that's
game.
true too.
This one guy came in with this big trailer and he was running over the curbs and
Nice.
barely missing vehicles, so I think a couple will play speed bumps. Of course, if it does go in the middle, that'll cut some of that out, but just the people leaving it already.
Yeah. I don't think that's too big of an ask. I don't think that'll be an issue at all.
And do you want to include in this list of what the community park compromises, they add the dog park? Cause it's not listed.
That's a good one.
So that's the facility I use the most every day.
so I'm sorry, Cliff, would you say the dog park is not
It's
included?
not.
It's not included. in the-
Listed under number 1.
Yeah.
Okay,
So it says on number 6, smoking of tobacco products except in areas designated by city staff is prohibited in those areas. If containers for disposal of tobacco products are provided, they must be used. Is that talking, is that, I guess, is there smoking allowed in the community park?
We have cigarette butlers out there.
They're by the playground.
Yeah,
Hmm.
that was
Because
actually a
people would put their
discussion
cigarette
point.
butts on the ground, right where the kids.
Yeah,
I picked them up myself.
so this came up recently with staff too. There was some staff, offended by smoking happening near the office. And I didn't know what kind of
Smoking.
ability I had to tell folks you can't smoke here.
Outside near the office or?
Yeah, I mean, actually from a personal vehicle, the windows were
Oh.
down. So on UT's campus, there's no tobacco allowed anywhere, vaping, smoking, chewing. So I don't know how that would go over here. I know when it was considered in the bars, it was like a big hot topic in town, but the parks are kind of a different,
We have a lot of smokers.
yeah.
We have
fishermen.
smokers that were descendants of smokers that were, you know, had ancestors.
Do they
that were
have,
smokers.
Historically
do people
significant
smoke in the
smoker.
dog park while they're hanging out with their dogs?
No,
No.
not usually.
I never, I mean, it's kind of a weird thing that I don't notice it there, but I notice it next to the playground.
Hmm.
I know
Are
the
there
skaters
kids
do,
playing and they're standing there? Why are they standing there smoking?
because
Their
their
kids are
Kids are
playing?
playing.
their kids are playing.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not,
I didn't know if it was smokers just coming and hanging
No,
out by
no,
the
it's
playground.
people that they're either, they're at the park for some reason and they're. It would happen more at like Roberts Point than the community, but. I was just surprised like how many cigarette butts you find at the benches in front of.
yeah, if they're gonna do that, you might as well have the cigarette butlers
Yeah.
there.
But I'm sure you get a lot over at the skate park.
Well, you know, there's a broken cigarette butler right in front of the community center. Is that the city's?
One of those little black ones?
No, it's like this thing on a stake.
That's a city one. Well, yeah, I think so. I think that's a city one. So Keep Port Aransas is beautiful. It has the little like mailbox
Mhm.
birdhouse looking ones, the black boxes. And those are a separate volunteer led initiative. And that's what's next to the playground at the community
Oh,
center.
that's okay.
Yes. So what are we trying to do?
But there's smoking allowed in the park.
Yeah, I'm just,
Do we wanna, I think that it would be a hot button issue if you guys wanna look into changing that one, but
Yeah.
I'm not opposed to it either. It
well, they're
just
not
might get
allowed
a
on the
little,
trails, right? Are they allowed to smoke on the trails?
I don't think so.
I think
So
as long as it's
smoking-
not allowed on the
Smoking of
trails.
tobacco products except in areas designated by city staff is prohibited and in those areas, okay. They must be used.
So there's like a sign that where you can smoke, smoking area.
It's just very. Vague.
So we probably need to be better about marking where smoking is allowed at our facilities.
Yes.
Yes,
And that's not really a change to the ordinance, that's an operational change. Mark
Smoking is
smoking
except
areas.
in areas where you can smoke, except in areas where you can't. And it's like, well, where can you?
No, you
take
can't
it?
smoke the way this reads, you cannot smoke anywhere unless it's in a designated area for
Right.
smoking.
that's why I was questioning, because I'd never seen a sign designating an area.
Well,
to smoke.
how do I designate the bulkhead as a smoking area? Like.
Yeah.
It gets kind of,
Yeah, this,
And you have, if you have the butt things that are for cigarettes.
I
that's
think
kind
with-
of indicating it's okay
Yeah.
to smoke there.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, like they put it there because people were putting cigarette butts out all around there. It kind of comes and goes with phases. It's not like, and
always felt like all smoke.
Oh,
would have to have a
and-
clip-on ashtray.
So the second part of this, as, and in those areas, if containers for disposal of tobacco products are provided, they must be used. So it's
Yeah.
almost like those containers are
saying. there's a smoke
indicating
here.
this is a smoking area. So I don't need a sign, I
No.
just need more of
Yeah.
those, if they're allowed. But then in the areas I don't put them, the cigarette butts just go on the ground.
Right, because smoking is But I mean, is it like, where is it a problem? Like,
And what police officer is gonna walk
Yeah.
up to somebody and say you're not allowed to smoke here? It's
No, I
an
mean-
enforcement nightmare.
I mean, obviously, like by the skate park. You can't really smoke at the pool or around the, you know, that sort of thing.
Mm-mm. Yeah, we have a controlled manned entrance there though,
Yeah.
so it's a lot easier to enforce rules there.
And he says it's not really a problem. I don't go to the dog park, but you go to the dog park,
I do, every
you
day.
you don't see like a bunch of litter.
No,
Cigarette butts.
no.
It's probably one of those things that it would have to be complaint driven
Yeah,
enforcement.
yeah.
The only time I see them is like if I get there early in the morning, it's obviously somebody came really late, was hanging out after everybody left, maybe even in the dark.
I could take the cigarette butler away from the playground and put a sign that says no smoking in the parks. And put the cigarette butler maybe closer to the parking area or something, like less offensive to, I don't want kids, I don't want people smoking. while my
I think,
kids are
I mean,
playing on
I
the
think actually
playground.
that, I mean, I would like a sign that said no smoking at the park, like at the playground.
Yeah.
And then, but like have a cigarette butt maybe in the. Like when you, I don't know where it would be, like, I'm trying to think in between like that and pickleball field or something.
It seems very dated to have like a smoking area in the park.
How about smoking? And how about a sign near the playground that just says smoking is allowed in the parking lot only. So they have to at least back
Smoke
up.
in your car.
Yeah, smoke, they can smoke in their car, they can have one arm hanging out, their open window if they
Unroll
want.
your window.
Yeah, but you know, they can have
To be
tailgate
honest,
party.
it's more of an issue when Roberts Point. Cause that's a whole different.
Well, what's
because
cool
it-
though is I am working with professional park design teams on both these locations. So for the rec center, I will mention what do we do about tobacco use, and the same goes for the playground design. So that's just another note for me. Talk tobacco.
Because I think again, like what. You know, Roberts Point's just a different. You get so many just people from out of town and. It's just different.
Cliff was saying it's a heritage historical behavior though.
You know, it's just
Before they-
crazy how much. I mean, I can't really go into bars that are completely closed up in town because the smoke just is, it's so thick. It's
You
just
still smoke in bars here?
Pardon?
You can
Yeah.
smoke in bars here still?
every single bar. I think there's one, supposedly, Winston's, or the Palm
Palm
Republic,
Republic, you can't
you
smoke
can't
there.
smoke.
Oh, so that's a big change
That's
from
the
the
only,
flats.
only one. Yeah, the flats were every smoker, I
You
mean, that
can
for
smoke in Fins or
No, I remember
Tortugas.
Beth and Kelly, that was the first non-smoking restaurant in Port Aransas and people had a fit. They're like, we'll never eat there. I'm like, okay.
there's some hardcore smokers.
It was a
What?
big deal because that was in 2005 that they opened and people could not believe that you couldn't even smoke on the porch. There's no smoking.
No, I don't know if it's consistent across public education locations, but like in Houston at the Health Science Center, there's no smoking anywhere.
In the parking lot.
In the grounds.
that's like
No.
UP.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So why couldn't we say that smoking is prohibited on any city of Port Aransas recreational facilities, property?
I think we could.
I mean,
I think it hasn't been done for fear of backlash, but there's no, I mean, it's not healthy.
Because
We're here promoting health and wellness.
Right.
But I mean, would you
think you
tell
could
that to
argue
the
it.
people on the fishing all night on the piers?
That is a good point.
Oh, that's a good point.
But to counter it though, that's one of the worst
It
places of
is.
pollution is those cigarette butts are going right in the ocean.
Absolutely, it drives me crazy.
But enforcement is the other
Yes.
side
And
too.
there's no sense making a rule that's
Can't be
unenforceable. We have so many of those on the books of the city already.
Yeah.
Doesn't
Yeah, there's no
enforce.
sound, there's no light enforcement. We have rules, but nobody to
Yeah.
enforce them. So I think. You know, having the cigarette butlers where they go and just, I like the idea of keeping them away from the kids. You know.
Yeah,
I'd
that
say-
to me, there's a
I mean,
line there
As
for
a
sure.
parent, yeah, I mean, I mean,
We don't need to be encouraging it. We can
It-
move
it
it,
was-
even
it's-
if we just moved it
it's so
across
str-
the
it's so
sidewalk.
Strange, somebody was smoking and Maggie didn't even know what it was, because she's never been around it, and she
Mm.
actually asked, she's like, she didn't know what it
What are
was.
they doing? Yeah.
Mhm.
Because she's never seen anybody smoke before.
Very interesting.
Yeah, I think we can keep it to the parking areas. I think no matter,
Be more strategic about where we have the butts.
and you know, even if they're fishing on the pier, they can walk off the pier to the parking area, smoke and then get back on.
There's also, like, if I've been coming to the playground for years, and smoking on the bench. If the butler moves, I'm not moving, like, I'm gonna keep doing the behavior I've been doing, so, I mean, this is like a whole, we could do like a psychology piece on this.
It's more of the guys fishing out all night on the piers. That I'd be, like, they're not gonna. They don't
Yeah.
care about the rules.
Yeah, I think we just concentrate on the places where we really want it. I mean, like
Yes,
the
like
kids.
where kids
facilities.
are at.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it. Remove from
What is the-
playground
When I was at
areas.
the pickleball tournament. Oh, it's something else. And I don't know if this is time to bring it up, but the number of trash barrels there at the community park,
Uh-huh. You want more of them?
there aren't very many. There's one there by the playground. And one on the other
One by the one by the.
So
skater.
pickleball needs a trash,
needs trash.
pickleball needs trash.
People are not gonna, I'll tell you, they don't want, if they can't have to walk more than 15 feet to throw something away.
But they're like,
they're gonna throw it
I will
out.
say a special event though, like a tournament like that, they need to bring in their own trash. They're supposed to be responsible for it. So if the grounds crew had come after the tournament and it was real trashy there, they would have lost their security deposit.
Mhm.
Cause special events, bathrooms and trash, some over 100 people, they need to be supplementing for what we have. But I think each user group like skate park and pickleball and the other areas, probably everyone needs
their own
a trash
trash.
can, maybe. Look at it.
There's one at the right adventures of the dog park.
So the community park is open from 8 to 10, right?
Oh, this is the nightmare ordinance. What page, where are you?
The last. The
Park hours, got it.
park hours.
Okay, this part is very confusing.
The community park is 8 to 10. Right? Okay,
Yes.
Nature preserve.
But
that's-
see, item 2,
If you
the
want to
jogging track, you can,
if you want to walk or jog,
you can be there at 6 AM to 11 PM. I don't know who is jogging from 10 to 11
is
PM.
only for an organized sanctioned Parks and Rec department may be conducted, like a sanctioned activity
Yeah,
can be done till 11.
so there must have been a specific program at the time this ordinance was written that they were
Did
catering
they have a
to.
nighttime thing? But that was even early. That was early in the night. That was like at 8.
We started a little night walk in the nature preserve. It was like a 9 o'clock thing.
But that's in the community park. The nature preserve was dusk till dawn, but you're doing a specially sanctioned event.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
But then
So
there's, when I was like, will there be hours for like the Old Town Park? And the hours
and
for
McDonald Field isn't included in there
McDonald
either.
Field and like, or like, I guess Roberts Point Park is open all the time because of fishing.
They should.
Yeah,
These are really just regulating nature preserve and learning center and the community park. Would it be
And this
simpler
is-
just to just combine hours to 6 to 11? Or do you just
No,
really don't
no,
want people
no.
in there after 10?
You do not, no, I want it to be,
she wants less.
I mean, maybe it would be different when we have like a community.
What's the noise that you're hearing that you,
No, so
Are you channel this?
yes, my back gate backs up to the basketball court. And they'll have, like in this, right now it's not, what?
Are you next door to Cassandra Clark's
Yes,
house? Okay.
yes. And so it's not that bad right now during the school year. But in the summer, and I get it, I mean, the kids really have not, whatever, but they were like partying with like full on hard, like loudspeakers. At like close to midnight.
so that would violate the city's noise ordinance, not even related to park hours. Loud music after
Yeah.
10.
is, you know.
But like, that's what I'm saying, like, don't.
Well, I was curious if it was like basketballs bouncing, or I've
No,
heard
no, it's
people
bas-
with pickleball making noise in other communities. It's
Yes.
been an issue, so I was curious what was
It's,
the,
it's because they don't have anything to do after 10
but
o'clock.
the thing that's keeping you awake or bothering you is music. being
No,
played.
it's music and I mean, they're bouncing balls and they're
Just
screaming, I mean, they're
voices, okay.
screaming because I get it, they wanna have fun. I get it, but there comes a point in my life where I can't
Because
do it.
you do have that neighbor, that whole neighborhood right there, looks, backs up against the park. I take that back. It's a good time to stop. But in the
But
morning,
the other thing is like
But
the skate
12-year-olds
park, I
can
know
be
there's
out
people
at
out
10
there.
o'clock. What?
The skate park, I think gets used
Oh, yeah,
at all hours.
I mean, and
We just don't have control of access. There's no gates.
I mean, have you ever thought about that? Like a timed gate?
We do it at the nature preserve.
I think my husband might write a donation. We have, I don't know if y'all, I mean, we have filmed drug deals going down. We have filmed all
Do
sorts
you
of
give the
things,
police department?
but yeah, they don't, yes. They
I
were
don't know
not
what you're gonna say,
interested. There's not a problem at Chandler or at Community Park.
we're
Did
not
you put a
having on the
gate
best
there
day.
where the park entrance?
I've seen people like, we're talking like at midnight, 1 o'clock, they'll drive up. They go into the bathrooms, they leave. 5 minutes later, somebody comes in, then they walk into the bathrooms and leave. It's
The
called-
bathrooms are supposed to be locked at minimum.
Well, I don't
the
think they're going all the way. to the
custodial
bathroom. I think
and the
there's a- I
maintenance
think there's a
staff.
drop point first.
Oh, just that little like.
And then I see
in-
2 cars come across, they kind of talk to each other for a little while, and then they leave.
Okay.
But that's like
Hmm.
around. That's definitely, it's like around midnight.
I'm really hoping our next chief considers doing
Yes.
some patrolling, because I think a lot of that would be alleviated if. And I have seen police come through there once in a while, but it's usually like every 2 or 3 weeks. I'll see a police car come through that parking lot
I don't
during the
wanna
daytime.
say anything, negative about another city department. To their credit, I will say there's a small staff for a lot going on. And so at that hour, there might be more going on at Bernie's and Shorty's and or other places throughout town to have
That's
2
true.
officers on duty. The park tends to be less of a dangerous priority when other things are going on. So I'm not trying to make excuses by any means, but I understand if we feel like enforcement is not where we would like it to be, it's because there's bigger fish being fried elsewhere in town. But I also completely understand all of the frustration.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that, that philosophy is bad, I just feel like some issues that we talked about in this meeting today, if there was even just regular patrols of city facilities, city and park facilities, it would curtail some of that, because there's a lot to be said about police presence, and I know that, that Chief Burrows doesn't like to have, he'd rather have, response, which you'd say model rather than than a patrol model.
I can't speak for him at all, but I do think when we get creative with things, like if we were gonna put gates in, I think if we can take things into our own hands where possible, like that was the intention behind the preserve hosts.
Mhm.
Is like, how can we empower our department to help with some of these issues and try and do the best we can? That's what we really have control over. And so
Gates are great idea.
gates might be a good start. They're,
That would stop cars. You still have people walking that can get in. They're off.
yeah, it might
Yeah,
not stop
that's
your
the-
10 p.m. basketball league, but
But at the same time, if it's just kids roaming around on their bikes or
Right.
walking, you're not gonna stop that, but there's no place to park on, that road outside of if you put those gates right there, where, at the very entrance to Clark Parkway, there's no place really to park
Yeah.
without being into traffic or in the bike lane. So, and you can also add no parking signs, no parking from here to here. You know, that, you alleviate a lot of that. You're right, it's a self-fix that's pretty simple.
Another thing that I know the police department is working on is camera systems. I've struggled with security cameras. We have a little system out at the pool, but they're going citywide and I think they're gonna have some park placement with their cameras, and so I tried to get an update on that last week and haven't heard the latest, but it is in the budget to get cameras. So I think that'll be helpful. We're a little bit off topic. Do we want to run through any of the other rules? I think what I'm gonna do is the notes that you guys gave, if it applies, plus the notes that Ray comes up with, we'll do like a final draft version of the revisions and bring it to you for approval.
I'll take a second look.
And if you find anything, if it's too much to look at during this meeting, you're welcome to, send me your revisions and I'll incorporate them into the draft.
Well, it also says right here. Under following provisions apply to all park facilities unless otherwise noted, it says right here, the use of amplified sound equipment, i.e. stereos, electronic sound equipment to attract wildlife. That's, according to the rules, that's prohibited to bring.
In the nature
big
preserve.
wildlife. Oh, just in
The nature preserve, yeah.
So you're in the section that is just,
No, it says following prohibitions apply to all park facilities unless otherwise noted.
okay,
That's section 18
Where?
43,
Where's
number
that?
5.
I thought that fell under nature.
It says
preserve.
to attract wildlife.
Well, that was a second. Let me see.
They can't use it to attract wildlife.
Well, I was taking the comma as to be
Okay.
a separate thing, the electronic sound equipment to attract wildlife. is-
Yeah, the IE is examples, stereos
Yeah,
and.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah,
You
okay.
can use a stereo, just not to attract.
no,
Wildlife.
no, you
No,
can't
no.
use stereo.
Okay.
You can't do amplified sound.
So actually, they're not supposed to bring the boom boxes from music.
And then that's why they called out other than the ball field public address system, which is very loud. We get questions on alcohol a lot.
There is none. Right?
It's prohibited,
Even at the Roberts Point Park?
according to this. Yes. If it's in a special event and
Yes, but like just
Called out.
people just hanging out.
Yeah.
With their barbecue,
it's one of those things that's like, no one's
Who's
gonna
gonna
come
force
on
it?
and check it, what's in your Yeti.
yeah.
But if you're making a fool out of yourself and you got a case of
Yeah.
beer and beer
Yeah.
cans
Yeah.
strewn everywhere, someone can come and
Yes.
say, this is prohibited.
What can we say, and consider this in any ideas or additions we want to bring forward to the next meeting?
Yes, I will bring you a revised actual hard copy so that you can make a motion to approve it as,
Okay,
Like with the
Presented.
no smoking in like the kids areas.
yeah. I'm gonna talk to David and see about what if we did just no smoking, what would happen? And you could say with the exception of bulkhead and fishing piers if we needed to.
But you could say parking lots, so that, I mean, if somebody's kid is playing in that playground, if they step back into that parking area, they
mean-
can still watch the kids, which I'm sure that's part of it.
I mean, just go,
We'll
I
have to
mean,
get up.
nowadays you go to any like. It seems like all the fields that you go to, 'cause I went to a lot with Kendall, doing travel ball, and they're all not, you cannot smoke.
Yeah.
anywhere on the property.
I feel like in pro leagues, like when you go to a baseball stadium, there's like a smoking pavilion or
But
something,
this is
but
just like the big, all the fields, like the
Yeah.
big soccer fields and the big that. And softball fields, and they're not even like technically school, like anything school property, you're not smoking. But even just these like. The big softball. Soccer fields that are out there.
it
now.
makes sense
Yeah.
with youth, especially if you're having youth
Like you
tournaments.
can't, yeah, you can't smoke anywhere.
It makes sense. I know it could get to be a heated issue and it depends on how passionate we are about,
Controlling lifestyles.
yeah.
I think parking lots. Easy way of getting.
Allow it on the, what do you think about bulkhead and fishing piers?
I think that's very difficult to,
Enforce.
yeah. It'd be easier if cigarettes didn't have filters on them, then you wouldn't have the bus thing all over.
I would
The
agree.
good old days, they were much more environmentally friendly. Just had the field strip them.
Do you have like cigarette butt things out on the piers?
We just talked about adding them. I don't think they're out there yet. There might be. There's 36 of them throughout town, and I can't remember. And a volunteer goes around and empties them.
Ugh. And I used to smoke. For a long time.
I think the piers would be hard to.
Yeah, you're not gonna,
enforce.
yeah, I don't like.
But do you make the rule
It'd be
so
great.
that it looks right and then you can enforce it when you need to? Or do you not make the rule because no one's gonna listen to the rule? It's a philosophical thing here.
Yeah, I know, again, with the kids, I guess you have to really look at the purpose of doing it. For the kids, it's pretty obvious, any kid area, you want it healthy and where they're not breathing smoke. But especially if they're kids that never have to in their home, their regular household. But the piers, you're really looking at trying to keep the environment,
Ocean
Yeah.
side of things, yeah.
and that's important. I mean, it's
Yeah.
And why not take my kid on a walk on the bulkhead, and enjoy the fresh air?
I could go
Totally
with
am
you.
like leaning towards, like, let's just do it and see what happens, but.
I know I know there's some heavy smokers that like, but they're usually like out on the pier, and that's Nueces County, that's, you see
Of course,
smokers.
Caldwell here.
There's nothing, and even then, when I'm out surfing, just, the smell of cigarette smoke could be strong enough sometimes to where it's like. It just seems, it's such sharp contrast to the reason why you're out there.
It's the number one thing picked up at Adopted Beach cleanups, cigarette butts, by far.
It's crazy, so it was crazy, I wanted to walk down the jetty one day, my morning, when I walk on the beach, I walk down it. So I was, there's every smoke field on the jetty. It's just, that's what I'm saying, it's gonna be hard, because I think that's a fishing, not all, but. It's just in that.
That's why we're allowed to drive on the beach. It's a thing that's been done forever. We'll never do it. All right, well, if you have
Real
further
quick.
thoughts.
There are no smoking, there are no receptacles for butts on the piers now.
She said they were, yeah.
I can't remember.
Okay,
It's
let's
been
assume that
discussed.
They may not be, right? So whatever's happening with cigarette smokers is happening.
Yes,
Right. So you put a sign up that says no smoking. Well, why would we not do that? Because if we're concerned for kids, would we not be concerned for other people who are on the pier fishing that night?
right. Like
And not
everyone
wanting to-
deserves the
not
right
wanting
to
to
go
have
out there
it,
and
right.
enjoy it without cigarette smoke in their face. I
Right,
totally
so-
agree.
If someone's going to smoke, we've got a lone fellow out there at 1 o'clock and nobody else is there, he's probably gonna smoke. But if there's at least one other person on the pier, there's a chance that he may decide, well, I'll go to the parking lot and have a cigarette.
Yeah,
I won't have it out here.
Yeah, and you can have a little smoking area sign with a butler right there to the right or left of the pier entrance. And that way they know, I've got to walk back to this point to have a.
Or the
That's-
sign
that's what-
says smoking in parking area only.
Yeah,
I think that's the easiest thing. It doesn't
Mm-hmm.
do anything keeping the butts out of the water though, because the sewers will wash all of it off the
Hopefully they'll come
parking
out in the
lot.
car or something.
But
Sure.
Well, the butlers could be positioned to
Right.
where like where the sidewalk entrances from the parking are or something like
Yeah.
that.
Oh, yeah.
no, that sounds like a, I don't know,
I could go for it.
yeah.
All right, let me bring it up with David and see if there's any other hoops to jump through, or if it's just we revise it and this is a public meeting, and if folks want to come in and object, you'll hear them out, and then we make the recommendation to council. So council would have to sign off on it too, probably, but
But we
I'll-
would have like a final reading of that here, and
Yeah, you're gonna-
maybe
you're
somebody would
gonna-
yeah,
actually show
so the
up.
next meeting we have. We're just baiting you. We're gonna start changing rules just to see if people show up. You must wear purple at all the park functions. Um. All right. I'll revise the text to read parking area only, and then those other few little comments we made. I will merge it with Ray's changes, so we have to wait for a nature preserve meeting for that. And then once those two things happen, we'll bring it back for a recommendation to council to adopt, and then because it's an ordinance, I don't know if they have to read it multiple times or not, so I'll find out more on the protocol. But it's already widely accepted in the nature preserve, so I don't know, maybe times have changed and it'll get less resistance from the last time this was revised, because I think it was a while ago. Okay,
all right. On to item number 5, Parks and Recreation Board members' items for future consideration. I've been on this advisory board, I don't know, maybe 3 years, because I don't know if I was on before COVID and then we had a long absence of meeting or whatever, but I've mentioned before that I'm just always amazed at how the number of moving parts in this department. It's just amazing. And a city of this size,
Yeah,
reminded of it at Christmas and all of the work that went into the different activities in Christmas. But I've never, it may happen, but I've never seen the staff, the Parks and Rec staff being recognized by the city and thanked for all of the hard work that they do.
it's a good idea.
So maybe consider the next meeting how that might happen. So it would be not only an appropriate recognition that recognizes the value
Does
that they bring.
the city do like a employee of the month thing?
no, when something big happens, like Surf Rescue won regionals for the area, that went to city council and was like before the council meeting, it was addressed. There was another, I think, a rescue that took place where Surf Rescue was acknowledged. Ken has presented to council before on like a fun video on Marlin Academy and Camp Marlin, and just shown it to council before. It wasn't really a recognition, but it was a presence at city council. Nature Preserve will go, and there's been like a World Migratory Bird Day declaration from the mayor. But yeah, I hope I'm not misspeaking and forgetting a recognition that we got at some point, but I can't think of anything. That we do service awards, so at the Christmas party for the staff, they'll recognize like 5 years or 10 years, or you get a little glass inscribed thing with your name on it.
Maybe just, yeah, but there's no reason. So you're talking about the whole
The department,
system,
yes.
as vast as it is. I think there's no reason why they can't do like a park, a department, recognition day, or maybe even have an activity or something. But at least announce it. But I know that Christie is, like you said, she's been busting her butt doing all these activities back to back, day after day. So I could see, commending the whole group, but I could also see picking out some of your stars too. Not sure exactly how that would, but I think it'd start with at the very least that the city does some kind of recognition. At a city council meeting for the whole group, because you're right, they do a wide variety of events and activities and.
Between the pool and the nature's preserve and now they're gonna have parks, the big rec center and Roberts Point Park and search and rescue.
Yeah. And
It's a big department.
it is, and I think, people, visitors are
realize.
using the facilities more and more.
I want to say July is National Parks and Recreation Month. And I think we've done some like meet our staff social
Mhm.
media in Parks and Rec month, but that might be a good time to shoot for something.
That'd be nice if it was in paper.
Yeah.
You had a picture and
And if you feel comfortable talking to the city,
Well, maybe
any
it's
of the
just-
city council about it, I'd be happy to talk to anybody too. Since I know you sometimes are in a little different position.
I would like you to recognize me for the work that I'm doing. No, I have an amazing team and they do deserve recognition for all the hard work that goes on, for sure.
I think it's a great idea.
Did you have?
Oh,
any-
I gave them, Christy really helped organize this, but we did thank you gift baskets for all the departments last year with like a bunch of snacks and treats
Yeah.
and things like that. So they did get an appreciation from me,
Yeah,
but I know that they
It is
appreciate
July, though.
anything
July is
public.
National
Yeah.
Recreation and Park Association.
There's always like a theme for it, and then I think last year's theme was community growth, and before that was stand up for Parks and Rec. So we did like a video of how we stand up for parks, and yeah, so July is a good time to do it.
Maybe we can-
Unlike our meetings, the city council meetings, a lot of times half of those seats are full.
Yeah.
There's people that from the community that would hear it if the city council recognized.
Yeah.
I'm sure Wendy would be completely into any kind of recognition,
Maybe it's just us
recognition.
emailing the council and mayor and maybe South Jetty. Something like that for our Parks and Rec month, or, July or something, to do something special and recognize them. I'll email.
Yeah, I'll grab something. I usually get in touch with some different city council members on a pretty regular basis.
yeah. I was thinking, recognize formal recognition, some kind of proclamation from the city council. With at least the department heads here for that meeting and any of the staff that wanted to attend. And then accompanied by something in the paper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right,
Something like that.
yeah,
Yeah, it just doesn't even have to be any physical thing, but
Yeah.
just, just that. Some
Yeah.
type of announcement.
Thank
We're
you.
gonna do that.
okay,
I'm thinking on the Parks and Rec month there, I don't know, there may have been a declaration about Parks and Rec month at one point, because we showed a video that Christy helped put together on why we stand up for Parks and Rec. But I don't know that it was about our staff. I don't know. I'll have to go back and look.
okay. Any other items? Oops. Oh, hearing none,
I have,
I've got a quick question.
yes,
Do we know any more what's going on at besides I know you mentioned earlier about about going for that grant for having boat access, but.
Oh, at the 33 acres?
Yeah,
Yeah, just the next phase would be construction drawings and working on the final plan. There's just like the conceptual one that was floated by the open space master planning team. But the next step would be design and engineering, and I believe that's what that grant is gonna be applied towards. So slow.
So,
I'm
That's it.
okay. No,
You sure?
yeah. Positive.
All right,
I thought you said you had something, that's fine.
motion to adjourn.
A second.
I need a motion from someone.
Oh, I thought you were.
So motion, I'll
Great.
second.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Grace. Second,
I'll second.
thanks, Chris. All right.
I need to go out in the parking lot and have a cigarette.
Ah. You know, something that I should have brought up before we adjourned was the next meeting date.
Oh,
Just informally. You want a month, 2 months?
as long as we get out of February, it's crazy. I,
March is, yeah, I mean, yeah, March is rough with spring break.
So we shoot for April?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, I'll send an email.
Okay.
what day would that be in April? Because I have a lot of dates filled up in April.
What do you have available in April?
Well, I think most of my stuff is weekends and, don't think a Monday would be an issue.
22nd, maybe?
Maybe.
I'll send an email. We're not supposed to do business like
yeah.
this. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you guys so